Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe. And ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And it's chaos. It's absolute chaos in it. This is normally my little sanctuary where chaos goes on outside. And in here, it's kind of controlled chaos. But no, chaos is it. You might notice there's a wee little table. That isn't normally at the, well, you might see the corner of it sometimes. That's a folding table. It's kind of like a workbench I used before when I do like physical things, like model kits and stuff like that. But it's become a mess. It's become a huge mess, and I noticed like it was sagging yesterday, and then I saw like the middle legs weren't holding it up. And it's basically, I've got to take all the junk off it, and there's so much junk. I've got to take all the junk off it and fix the table, then put everything back neatly. So, look, it's a good thing. It is a good thing in that I get to have this huge mess cleaned up, right, and sorted out. Who knows or dares to dream what I may find. It's just a lot of schlepping involved. In fact, yesterday, as I saw the table, I tried to lift it up with my hand, and I felt my back start to go. I'm like, oh, this is not good news. This is not good news. You know what else is not good news? Doctor Who. Now, normally I'm not of that opinion. Normally I love Doctor Who. Normally I'm saying Doctor Who, that doesn't get much better news than Doctor Who. I really like Doctor Who. Last few years, not so much, because I feel it's the antithesis of Doctor Who. I really do. And again, Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall have crafted a Doctor who is a conformist moron. The fact that she has a vagina is neither here nor there, but really, can a woman play the Doctor, right? That's really the question. I always thought, yeah, it'd be an interesting idea. Jodie Whittaker's really proved not so much the case. Well, it's more not a woman can play the Doctor. Not anybody can play the Doctor, right? This is a role that involves. It's a hard role. It involves intelligence and be able to think things through and imagination. And I just don't think Jodie Whittaker can really conceive of it being real. Whereas, Tom Baker, Paul McGann, they could. Well, it's called acting, really. It's called acting. Authenticity in their performance. And also the scripts are just dire. Different people say different things about why the scripts are so incredibly bad. I think it's because it's more the function of it is platforming of ideology, which is weird because the people who love that ideology always say, no, you're just a bigot. This is just people being decent people. There's no ideology there, right? Even though they love it. It's exactly the same thing as Holocaust deniers, right? Everybody who denies the Holocaust would actually be very happy if it happened. So the same thing, right? They're exactly the same thing. So it's we were finally treated to their third season. Thank God it was cut down to 6 episodes. Well, 9 if you include the specials, which God help us. Yes, and it's nearly over. But like season 13 was a significant step up, not in improving the quality of Doctor Who. No, don't think that that's the case at all. No, it's a big step up in making it entertaining, and I think to do that they managed to like gloss over the things that are really hurting it, was Preachy and Jodie Whittaker. So they just made it very, 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 very busy. Lots of things going on at the same time. It became pretty clear to me that just about everything going on is all about dramatic scenes in the moment that don't necessarily need to make any sense. I mean, like the tunnels underneath. They did actually explain that. It's one of the few things they did explain, which was the Flux created them somehow. The expectation, like the dog people spaceships that formed an impenetrable barrier against a universe-destroying Flux. It's just weird, right? There's a lot of stuff in it that I think we can call simply weird and plot holes. So, okay, so I'm going to try and say out what the plot of Doctor Who Flux was to you, and then we're going to read it in Chris Chibnall's own words, and then we're going to read another article from Screenrant going, God, that's awful. Bring on Rusty Davis ASAP. Now, the reason I think Screenrant are going against him, along with the rest of the shill media, is because the Doctor and Yaz did not snog, and they came so close, so weirdly close. I mean, the first episode, they ended up in bed together, which was in the console room. And there was just a lot of plot lines that we did that weren't really fulfilled. So, as I understand it, is this. Oh, like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things are very good. Thank you very much. I'm very, very appreciative. I am very appreciative. Sorry it took me so long to get to that, but like, share, subscribe, comment. As I understand it, is this. The Doctor is the timeless child who, at the dawn of time, a stunning and brave Gallifreyan explorer called Tectoon found, abandoned it by a building next to a portal. They didn't know anything about the child. The child didn't know anything about us, other than she was stunning and brave and black. That's all we really knew about the child. Nobody thought to go and look in the building. They found her in. Nobody knows where that portal was to, or even if it was a portal. They just knew this girl had been left on her own, and so Tectoon decided to raise her as her own. Quite nice of her. Really, all cool things considered. Listen, I have to tell you the truth here. I went from last year being somewhat of an empty nester. All my kids were in college, in the army, wherever, and in school. And they would come home for Sabbath, like on Friday night, and they'd be home for a couple. It's lovely. That was great. Now they're all living at home. I mean, my son, who is an officer in the army. He's commanded troops. He's commanded tanks. Probably killed people, right? Probably killed people. Now he can't work out how to make the coffee machine work. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable. But yeah, we are. So I do have a bit of a full house right now. Much like Doctor Who Flux, which was just so much stuff going on at once. So anyway, yes, I was just saying that's why it was nice that she adopted her and didn't let her die of starvation, being left alone on this planet. So then one day, the stunning and brave little black girl falls off a cliff, literally, much like the ratings, and regenerates. Nobody's seen a regeneration before. So then Tectoon experiments on the kid killing the kid over and over again to find out the secret regeneration, and then is able to plug and play that into Gallifreyans. At that point, there's some kind of clandestine agency created called the Division, which grows beyond all of Gallifrey, and it basically has everybody working together, interfering with the universe to create their vision of what they want it to be. Right. The Doctor, one of the early regenerations of the Doctor, works for the Division, but leaves, and there's but this really was not explained clearly at all. There was some kind of war between space and time, as time being represented by Swarm and Azure, who we have no idea who they are, right? No idea whatsoever who they are. And they were defeated by the Division and entombed for all time. And then the Ruth Doctor, who captured, for some reason wants to leave, and she goes into hiding as a tour guide in 2019 Leicester or someplace not London in England, right? Then and for some reasons buries her TARDIS by a cliff by the sea. So Jodie Whittaker's Doctor bumbles into finds her watch, her chameleon art watch, and then wakes her up, and she's a Doctor, but she doesn't know who Jodie Whittaker is. Jodie Whittaker doesn't know who she is. Turns out there's a gazillion billion lost regenerations, right? So anyway, so that's where we are at the beginning, and they go off in their separate ways. Gallifrey's been destroyed by the Master for some reason. So then the Doctor finds out a little bit about. It had all her Division memories and all the memories before Hartnell erased, right? So she's obsessed with finding out these new memories. So the series opens with them being caught by a supervillain called who's a dog person called Carvanista, who was a member of the division, and they're being hung upside down over a sea of acid, about to be dropped into it and then shot by robots on a planet that's about to go supernova. Why not just shoot them? Like 12 bullets in the head. Boom, 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 boom. She'll be done. I mean, like, just shoot them. That should do the trick. Oh no, she's got infinite regeneration, so I forgot. Anyway. So they escape from that in a stunning, brave way and fall into the TARDIS, her and Yaz, onto a bed in the console room for some reason. And then there's this guy who we really don't know anything about called Vinder, who's been put onto a observation point in the middle of nowhere. He's got a girlfriend or a wife, probably girlfriend, who's heavily pregnant but not showing at all. And they've been separated from them for seemingly a long amount of time. The reason he's been posted there is because he tried to blow the whistle on an official called the Grand Serpent, who was doing some naughty political things. And then so he witnesses this universe-destroying cloud explode into reality, which then goes to eat planets. So he runs away from that. At the same time, the dog creature, Carvanista, is hunting this guy called Dan on Earth. Why is he hunting Dan on Earth? Because every dog person has their own human. And there's a species link between them, species bond. So he has to protect them from what? The Flux. How do you know it's coming? I don't know. But the entire species of dog people are then recalled to Earth to protect their humans. They're linked for some, nobody's heard of them before, and they're able to form their ships into any configuration possible. The Doctor gives them a little form of and they make an impenetrable shield against the Flux, which has eaten planets. I want to be clear, eaten planets. Then the Doctor tries to stop the Flux by smashing open the TARDIS and having time vortex energy pour into it. Doesn't seem to do much. Doesn't seem to do much at all. And the Flux overtakes the TARDIS, and boom! And then you get the great Jodie Whittaker cliffhanger line. I always wondered what it will feel like. What is it, Jodie? What do you wonder? The end of the universe! Yeah, very good. But it wasn't the end of the universe. They ended up in the Crimea. The Sontarans are there. They're really mad that in the far future, whoever it is from the Sontaran experiment gets killed, right? But they're really mad about that. They want to invade Earth because of that. And they're invading Earth at different points in time. Oh, God, this is so confusing. They're invading Earth at different points in time. This is actually not a bad episode, really. The Sontarans were pretty good. And so they're in the Crimea. And so they're going to invade Earth. And this is the pilot invasion. And they got in just before the dog people's ships formed an impenetrable barrier around Earth. Right, so and also the Storm and Azure has been freed from their division prison, and they're going around being, I'm evil. Well, Swarm is. Azure was in some kind of old bottle, being looked after by people in the Icelandic people, and now she's who knows? None of this is explained, right? None of this is explained. So then, how was at the end? At the end, that you find out there's this planet called Time with the Temple of Anthroposof. God, does it sound like bollocks? Which has these creatures in it called the Moray that regulate time. And two of them are dead, and so Yaz and Vinder, who find themselves there, are about to be replaced by them and have time rip them apart. That's when Jodie Whittaker arrives, and she has this long monologue about how brilliant she is. And she goes and saves. She jumps into the time vortex thing, and so you get to see a bit of a history with the division, which you didn't know about, and. Yes, and they're all who does it? It's kind of like, imagine a really bad version of Deadly Assassin episode 3, like a really mundane bad version of that. That's what you got. At the end, none of it matters. The doctor brings two of these Maury people back and saves Vinder and Yaz, even though she never met Vinder. She loves him a lot. And then bring Vinder. And then Swarm said, it was just our evil plan to make you know a little bit about your past. On the first episode, also, there was a woman called Claire bumps into the doctor and Yaz says, "Oh, I know you, somehow. I'm not going to tell you how." And then she's attacked by a weeping angel, right? So we go back to her story in episode 4. Episode 4 is, again, some reasonable scares in it, but really kind of stupid. This village has been taken out of space and time in 1911 and in 1967. You got Claire working with Professor Jellicoe, who's pretty good. He's like one of the good aspects of it. For some reason, we never actually find out what they're doing, some kind of psychic experiments. So what turns out, there is a rogue weeping angel that's hidden within Claire, right, and taken her back to 67. And also Yaz and Dan are zapped to 19. Did I mention they bumped in a guy called Dan? Doesn't really matter. Zapped back to 1967. And this was all a trap to get the doctor there, because the Weeping Angels are now a mercenary service, a mercenary taxi service, and they turned the doctor. It was all done to capture the doctor, because they really wanted to capture the Weeping Angel. So they wanted to capture the doctor, and they turned her into a Weeping Angel. That episode did well. That episode gave it a bump in the ratings. So then we get a big info dump about what's going on. Jodie Whittaker gets taken to the division. There's this old woman you saw in it one time before. Turns out that's Tectoon, and she confirmed all the stuff I said. And she says they created the Flux because Jodie Whittaker's doctor is so freaking good. So unbelievably freaking good that that they have to kill her because she's corrupting the universe with the goodness. And so they're going to destroy the universe to kill her. But they're also going to save her, bring her to Division, and offer her to live to go into this new universe that they're planning on going to. Jodie Whittaker's like, Icky Thump, no! And also they have a pocket watch with all her lost memories in it, somehow. Then we get the final episode, and Sontarans are really into sweets. They love candy. They're invading corner shops. Again, not really explained. The Flux is still going on. There's a woman called Belle, who we meet in episode 3, who's looking for Vinder, who's pregnant, who's got a little emoji connection thing to her pregnancy. Isn't showing. Sounds like she's been pregnant for like 10 years. Whatever you want to say, I don't know. Fine. So, everybody kind of meets up, essentially. And also there's these tunnels underneath Liverpool which really exist, built by this guy called Williamson, and they're all portals to different times and spaces. This was created apparently by the Flux. Somehow. It's just not explained at all, right? Maybe, you know what they should have done? As the doctor put the vortex energy into the Flux, that could have caused that to happen. But again, you're not paying me, Chibnall. What do you want out of me? So then it turns out the Sontarans have the evil official has gotten hidden on Earth, which is the last planet that's surviving the Flux. 90% of the universe has been destroyed. The Sontarans make a deal with the Daleks and the Cybermen for to work together and survive the Flux, but really it's just bait so they can take the dog. Oh, they've killed all the dog people as well. Yeah, they murdered the entire, committed genocide, right? Not the first genocide you're going to see in this episode. You actually get 3, I think, 4. So their plan is to get the Cybermen and the Daleks to be hit by the Flux and absorb all the Flux, which is antimatter energy. And then there's a little bit left over, which they then suck into this person who's infinitely big on the inside, called Passenger, who was a servant of Swarm and Azure. During all this, the Doctor's been broken into 3 versions of herself. God, Triple's terrible. So then finally they get the Flux trapped into that. Oh no! First they commit genocide with the Sontarans as well, right? They throw them at the Flux, then they suck the rest of it into Passenger, and it's over. They hit the reset switch. They put everybody back. Kate Lethbridge Stewart's back with Claire in 2021. They leave the Grand Serpent, the official, on an asteroid with nothing in the middle of nowhere. Dan is back being turned down by a one-armed woman in a Liverpool museum, and everything's fine again. And nothing really mattered, nothing really happened. Oh, and the Doctor's got the fob watch, but she doesn't want to look at it for at least another 2 episodes. Okay, so that's the story of the Flux as I understand it. Let's see what Chris Chibnall thought the story of the Flux is. Okay, this is going to be quite fascinating. There we go. Doink. And he put out a 15-minute video. Now, normally I would be doing a reaction on that, but they will copyright strike me if I do that. They did last time I did one of their things. They will absolutely copyright strike me. So, fortunately, these good people at Screenrant have written it down for me. So, yeah, good for you. BBC has released an official breakdown of Doctor Who Flux, hosted by Chris Chibnall and the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker. Fine, let's see what they... Now, remember what I said. Let's see if these two things join up. BBC have released a breakdown of Doctor Who Flux. It's never a good idea if you've got to explain your plot after it's finished, right? It's never, ever a good sign, is it? The coronavirus, blah, 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 blah. Ironically, returned to something a little closer to the classic with abbreviated 6 episodes, which I still say worked much better for Chibnall, right? This series was the best they've done. Unwatchable garbage, but best they've done. Compared to seasons 11 and 12, freaking Shakespeare, mate. The result was Doctor Who Flux, a story in which the Doctor's quest to recover her lost timeless child memories coincided with a potential universe-destroying threat. Well, it was universe-destroying until the last 20 minutes. Doctor Who Flux dramatically rewrote the show's mythology. Yeah, how'd you like all that crap I just gave you? Revealing the true nature of time as a malevolent force restrained by Time Laws a billion years ago. Oh yeah, time takes on the persona of a person. Storm of the Zords killed by time. It doesn't really. And then this has been very, very misreported by me at first as well. Then I re-listened to it. Time warns the Doctor that a time's coming to an end. And she's like, "Hey, keep up, no." So warning a time's coming to an end. And she says, "No life, no regeneration." So it sounds like she's not going to regenerate. What the actual line was, nothing lasts forever. No life, no regeneration. So it sounds like there's going to be a regeneration. I mean, maybe. Who knows? Ultimately, Doctor face-to-face with the woman who had raised her, Tecturn, the creator of the Flux, and who had consigned the universe to destruction because of the Doctor's influence. There were a lot of twists and I mean, anybody thinks the universe is so freaking good because really? Again. Look outside the front door, mate. There were lots of twists and turns, and some were poorly signposted. As a result, viewers have been confused about as a plot. No, as a result of poor writing. Okay, we got four paragraphs to go to get through this. Perhaps partly in response to this, confusing people released a YouTube video with Chris Chibnall and the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, explain the plot. You didn't have to get bloody Robert Holmes to explain the deadly assassin, did you? No. What? Why? Because he's a competent writer. The focus of the video is really on the Doctor's character arc, explaining the Flux was a personal threat and discussing the impact upon her as a person. And here's the thing. I mean, honestly, there is no character in this whatsoever. There's nothing recognizable as a character. And look, I know I keep plugging the same thing, but it's free. It is good. Do you like Capaldi? Go and check out Dr. Alex's channel. He's in the middle of his second Capaldi season, right? He does books. Do it down there? Oh yeah, here's season 13, right? He's in his this is his second Capaldi season. And this one, he's doing the something similar to Chibnall. He's making a one complete story. But his story is all about character. It's a group of characters. So it's all about character. He gets the character of the 12th Doctor. He gets the character of Romana. He gets the character of K9, right? He gets everybody's character. And it's like there's lots of interesting characters within it. It's very... Robert Holmesian. That's all about character, right? There's very little dramatic. Well, let's go a little bit. Little dramatic, like bah, 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 things going on, right? This nothing in Flux is about character, right? Nothing is about the Doctor's character. It's poor. It's just poor. It builds to a discussion on why the Doctor chose not to open the Comedian Arts Vault, but I don't even care. Didn't even think of that. Containing a forgotten members, the executive choose she is not defined by a past. It's a fascinating video clearing up a lot of the. The fact you've got to make it is failure, right? A massive sign of failure. Able to transform to the Division headquarters and Doctor Who. Such as how Swarm and Azor are able to transport themselves to the Division headquarters and Doctor Who Flux. They're away from there. No, they got there in episode 5, I believe. Not episode 6. They got there because the Doctor was some kind of bridge they made. Unfortunately, the BBC breakdown of Doctor Who Flux unwittingly highlights many of the problems of Chibnall's storytelling. Well, really, cell phone. Who'd have seen that coming? The character beats described in the video were all there, but they were underdeveloped, meaning the story lacked the emotional impact Chibnall intended it to possess. Yeah, listen, you gotta learn how to write. That's the thing. He's never learned how to write. It's very clear he doesn't know how to write. Philip Hinchcliffe always said, Doctor Who's the show that finds you out, and he is so right. Furthermore, it's striking how many plot lines are actually secondary to the main arc, and aren't even mentioned in the breakdown. Some Tyrants felt like the main villains of Doctor Who Flux, taking advantage of the chaos that Tectoon had unleashed, and yet they don't even merit a mention. Yes, exactly. There's an unfortunate lack of focus in storytelling, as demonstrated by the need to release the breakdown. Yeah, I've just said that over and over again. Master Commandment Crypto's interpretation of the Doctor's character of Doctor Who Flux, which is unfortunately quite reductive. According to Chibnall, the whole purpose of Doctor Who's quest in season 13 was to learn she is not defined by her past. Yeah. Did anybody pull that out of the unintelligible mess that I spoke about? But it's the very same lesson she was supposed to have learned in Doctor Who season 12, episode 10. There is that too. And that I'm coming to understand she literally gave her power to break free of the Matrix. Don't expect it to make any sense. The repository of all Time Lord knowledge, the Doctors apparently spent the entirety of Doctor Who Flux relearning that lesson. Yeah. The Chibnall era is coming to end, thank God, with the story to be completed in 3 upcoming specials. I think the news one is going to be completely self-contained. And probably not connect to the overall arc. We're probably going to see Vinda again, Vinda and Bella again, because really, I mean, who were they? Dickens confirmed the Doctor's multiverse origin, and the Doctor Who hiding the Fob Watch for Chibnall. Doctor Who was the next step in the Flux, the next Eternal journey, but the destination won't be reached next year, and nobody really gives a shit. That's really the bottom line. Nobody really gives a shit. Then, although they give a shit in that they hate it, right? They absolutely hate it. Doctor Who season 14, what Russell T Davies must learn from the Flux's failures. Okay, Russell T Davies doesn't need to learn anything. He knows what he's doing. Although people who know what they're doing know they need to learn at the same time. Okay, fine, I'm going to skip. Let's get. As his final full season, it's fitting that Doctor Who Flux typifies the highs and lows of the Chibnall era, doubling down on modern Who's strength and what tends to go a bit wibbly-wobbly. Opinions were particularly mixed at the beginning, but Doctor Who Flux finding a united audience and a collective sense of disappointment and confusion. Yes! A collective sense of disappointment and confusion. I would love to have that made into a t-shirt and have Chris Chibnall wear that. Not every element fell flat, admittedly. That's true. In every other season, every element fell flat. Not every element fell flat in this one. But if Chibnall's season-long narrative was an experiment, it cannot be considered successful. But it's Chibnall! Come on. You can't say this experiment was not successful because Chris Chibnall failed to make it succeed. This is Chris Chibnall. He can't do anything. Come on. Fine. Flux proves Doctor Who needs episodic seasons. No, I don't think it does, actually. Really? I don't think it does. I think, again, dude. Season 13, check it out. This is a one continual story. Freaking awesome. I'm really loving it, right? No, it shows Doctor Who needs people who know how to write it. Measured both in review aggregators and online reaction, Doctor Who Flux strongest episodes were War of the Tantarans and Village of the Angels. That's actually true. Actually, you know what the best way of doing it is? Rusty Davis' way, right? He had a season arc, Bad Wolf, right? And mentioned in every episode of the first season. And we loved it. And he thought nobody was going to notice, right? Bad Wolf and then, Torchwood. But each story, each episode had a beginning, middle, and end. Why? Because Russell D. Davis knows how to write. Whereas Chris Chibnall has always faked it. This is and also I think Jodie Whittaker, they faked their way. People do this all the time. People fake their way through careers. Right? What's his name? Ricky Gervais. He was a station manager in this radio station. And he said, I just faked it. I got this guy, Stephen Merchant, who knew how to do things. And then he got this internship at the BBC. And he ran around the office filming the pilot of The Office. Right? And he was here. And that's what happened. Right? That's exactly what happened. So look, the episodic stories did the best. The War of the Sontarans and Village of the Angels, 100%. And the ones that were the weakest, the absolute weakest, were the what do they call it in when they did the X-Files? Not Legacy. Some Legacy episodes, was it? I really don't remember. Oh man. Whatever but you had arcs and you had stories, and not yes. But look, in a 6-episode season, I don't think that's so possible. 3's a crown for the TARDIS companions. No, not really. It isn't. It really isn't. Episodic story is what the TARDIS was literally designed for. I know. Listen, it used to be we had minimally 4-part, mostly 4-part episodes, and you would. Doctor and panels would arrive somewhere, and the security guard would say, "Hey, what are you doing on that lawn?" And he would say, "Quick, you run that way, we'll run that way." And then you'd have 4 episodes of them running around, right? Or War Games. Really? War Games, 10 episodes, freaking seamless. And I think the War Games is a really strong comparison to Flux. But it's just very good. War Games keeps you watching, right? Keeps you rattling along, and does all this legacy stuff, like all this canon stuff, and it does it beautifully, right? It does it. You can't do it again, right? Here's Chibnall's real problem. His writing is karaoke, right? His writing is pure karaoke. He does things that have worked before, or stuff that he's done before that fails, but his writing is sheer karaoke. So you can't redo a surprise. I remember my son. Okay, my youngest son. Super sweet. When he was young, he won. We have this holiday called Purim, which all the kids dress up. You really puts on costumes. It's like Halloween. It's a big thing in Israel, right? Purim. So he wanted a Power Rangers costume, and he was like 5 at the. He's a cute kid, and that kid is really still a sweet kid. Oh man, he's a heart of gold, that boy. But he wanted a Power Ranger costume. So we got him a Power Ranger costume. We want Dr. Mengele. Yes, obviously we'll get him a Power Ranger. So we open it up. He says, "Surprise!" He's like, "Yay!" He goes to put us on. He's very excited. The next day, he said, "Can I see my Power Rangers costume again?" I'm like, "Yes, of course." He said, "No, but I want you to say surprise." So it works on a 5-year-old, not on anybody else. Oh, so cute. 3's the power ground on TARDIS for Doctor Who Comanche. You think? Really? Mickey, Captain Jack and Rose probably wouldn't agree, would they? Honestly, I think my favourite moment in the entire Russell T Davies era, right? And there's a lot of favourite moments. My favourite moment in the entire Russell T Davies era was Journey's End, when you got Captain Jack, Rose, Donna, Martha, the action figures up there. Sarah Jane, Sarah Jane, and the Doctor all flying the TARDIS together, dragging Earth back, and you had that wonderful Murray Gold music. It was freaking awesome. Wasn't too bloody crowded. No, if you write them as freaking characters, people, you can put as many as you like it. When the Doctor wakes up at the end of 6 after she's put back together by time, right? And the 3 version put back together by time, she looks up at TARDIS, and it's just a ton of people in there, and not one character, right? Not one character. Compared to Jodie Whittaker's first two seasons, Doctor Who Flux strikes a far better TARDIS dynamic. 13's original companion trio, Graham, Ryan, and Yaz, continuously competed for screen time, barely getting again. No, this is a weak argument, right? Yeah, no, I understand. Chris Chibnall can't do 3, but a real writer can. Russell Davis finale team-ups won't work in Doctor Who season. Well, no, he's got to build it up. Right, this was season 3, right? And look at this. He built up this incredible metaverse, this Doctor Who-verse right here, which is why he's coming back. Make no mistake, this is why he's coming back. Sarah Jane Adventures, Torchwood, right? It's awesome, right? And yes, he painstakingly built it up over a number of years. And when they came together, it was epic. Do you remember the first Avengers movie, right? It was, again, you got, well... When you say the Marvel cinematic universe started, the Hulk, which was their first movie, or Iron Man. I mean, Hulk's really the first movie, but I think Iron Man is where it like made a mark, right? But they spent a movie building up each game. You had a movie building up Iron Man. You had a movie building up Thor. You got Captain America. You got to care about these characters, and then when they brought them together, it was epic. It wasn't a 20-minute break in between introducing them and saying. And again, I knew who the characters were. I have no idea who Storm and Azor are. I have no idea who Vinda is. Vanguard does its own version of Rusty Davis, a Facebook reunion, bringing together the Doctor, 2 companions, Vanessa Bell, Vinda, Claire Jericho, Kate Stewart. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't bring in Bradley Walsh, although they Bradley and Tosin Cole. Although Tosin Cole's like, I made it! I'm at the plantation! Run! Yeah, you want to put as much distance between yourself and this mate as humanly possible. 2 commanders, Carvanista, Bell and Vinda, Claire and Jericho, and Kate Stewart. Just like in Russell Days, because he does karaoke. But he can't sing. That's really, he does karaoke, but he cannot sing. But the chaos is so many characters often think cover for anticlimactic solution. Yeah. Anticlimactic's the word. Yeah, but you're not going to do that with Ross Lee. Look, there was no anticlimactic solution in Journey's End. They dragged the freaking Earth back home. Okay, slave to everybody. Despite the whooping and backpacking, episode 5 setting up essentially culminates in the Doctor flipping a switch. Even worse, Jericho's death gets completely over. But yeah, you can see. I think you can see the character of the writer by how he gets rid, or how he if he ends the arc on minor characters. He's killed whole species off screen, right? Off screen. Like Jellicoe, best thing, and he died for no reason. Why did he die? Because he dropped his teleport ring. And what the hell's a teleport ring? We never have seen those before. Gets completely overshadowed in the melee, with Doctor Who totally ignoring how Yaz and Dan spent years travelling alongside the Professor. Yes! Only to say absolutely nothing when he dies. While it's good to have Russell T Davies back at the helm, Doctor Who Flux proves his finale team-up should remain on par. You are delusional, mate. I mean, yeah, I get you hating it, but again, you hate it because Yaz and the Doctor didn't scissor, right? Joe Martin's future Doctor must return. No, they're going to finish that off in the Chibnall years. The only way I think we're seeing any remnants of the Chibnall years making it through in the Russell T Davies years is if he wants to prove it can work, right? That's the only thing I think the only reason I think we're going to get that, to prove it really can work. Doctor Who Temporal Atros mission only accentuated the potential of the future character. No, you have to tell you. Her appearance in season 13 made the character weaker, right? But why? Because it made it into a bog standard, current day garbage tier science fiction. When they're all standing with their guns outside, who was it, Atropos? It's every freaking show that we see, right? It's just boring as hell. The Timeless Child can no longer be retconned. What a bet! What a bet, mate! Where else they was announced Christian was success, the viewers wondered whether the new old showrunner somehow wiggle free from the season 12's controversial Timeless revelation. So many ways and so easily. Alas, the events of Flux have rendered the... No, if you say none of this was real, it's fine. Rosalind E. Davis is left with no choice but to accept the Timeless Child as canon. Well, I think that might be the intention. That might be an intention. But, again, we don't. It seems like the Rosalind E. Davis era is going to be a hard reboot, right? Or at least it'll be like Eccleston's hard reboot, which turned into a soft reboot. It was intended to be a hard reboot and not really connect to the classic series, except they found out people really responded to that, and they came up with a fantastic balance of about 20% classic to 70-80% new, right? And that really worked. That really, really worked. Chibnall production values of Doctor Who's future. The production values were high, I would say, in Flux. I will agree. The production values were high, but I think the style was completely off. It was too juvenile. Say what you want about the storytelling, the dialogue and character, the problems of Doctor Who Flux, but the entire season has been a visual feast. I'm going to say mostly. If you don't look too hard. I mean, look, the CGI Daleks in episode 3 were not good. And again, the general tone of it feels more like the Tomorrow People than Doctor Who. Christian has elevated Doctor Who into a cinematic spectacle. I really disagree. Honestly, look, maybe I feel that the Russell Davies and the Stephen Moffat stuff was a better spectacle because I was much more connected to those characters, and I like those characters. That could certainly be a possibility, right? I'm not going to deny that, but it seems to me that and I rewatch modern Doctor Who all the time. Seems to me this, in some ways the special effects have gone down. Doctor Who canon is there for a reason. So now you change canon. You're saying, don't you mess with canon. No longer Doctor Who. The longer Doctor Who can use, the more volumes it adds to BBC's canon and continuity bubble. It's not hard to see why a showrunner might ignore the restraints in favour of breaking new ground. You can do both. You don't have to ignore it, and you can break new ground. Rossi they say mostly faithful to the past, with any major moves, the Time War, for example, added to the canon without contradicting what came before. Frankly, it's a miracle the Time Lords and Daleks didn't try wiping each other. No. Christian adopted the opposite approach. Who cares? Playing fast and loose with Doctor Who canon. And Russell E. Davis was wondering whether he might try something similar upon returning. Doctor Who Flux should be a red flag to deter him. But don't fix it. Don't put anything back the way it was. No. And look, the ongoing rumour, and a lot of these ongoing rumours are really being proved right now, is that Chris Chibnall has been told he must leave Doctor Who as he found it, right? He's got to put it back in the box so somebody else can take over. So maybe, I still think there's a good chance that Chibnall's going to retcon everything himself, right? I really do. But who knows? And again, it might last through to the Russell D. Davies era, but I think the only reason we're going to see any of the stuff in Russell D. Davies era is for him to prove that, yes, it can work, right? It absolutely can work, just not in the hands of a massive incompetent, right? Yes, it can work. The Flux test proves impossible introducing Timeless Child by avoiding big questions. Doctor Who Flux proves just how impossible introducing Timeless Child always was. Yes, but you said it's the best thing ever. There's a host of other continuity breaks too. Units, information, the division, the Avatar of Time, all of which rub awkwardly against Doctor Who's history. Expecting a 6-year-old franchise to continue without any plot holes whatsoever. Again, up until Chibnall, we really had unit dating. It had basically Mordred Undead. There's other stuff, nitpicking if you look really, really hard. But basically, it's Mordred Undead, right? But we welcome change of pace. If Russell T Davies as Doctor Who is offered up an Oasis free of wholesale rewrites, but this one we did is fantastic. So there you go. I think it's fair to say. Christian will try to explain Doctor Who Flux. Fails horribly. The fact that he needs to explain it doesn't particularly bode well, right? But that's just where we are in life, I guess. So, yeah, and then Screenrant goes, yeah, no, it sucks. And I'm convinced the only reason they're saying it sucks, whereas before they're saying it was the greatest ever, because Yaz and the Doctor didn't start snogging, right? And that's really it. That's the entirety of it. But there you go. You got to laugh, haven't you? Got to laugh. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell. Ring the little bell so you are notified when new videos drop.